Hello. I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about the situation with Brexit in the UK. I haven't spoken much about Brexit because there's been too many commentaries on Brexit over the last year, and it's just, you know, it's got to the point where it's become absolutely ridiculous in terms of progress as far as I'm concerned. But I wanted to really give you a few important facts which I see as key into how we've got to the current situation we are in at the moment. First of all, let's go back to the referendum that decided whether we remain inside the EU or actually leave the EU. Now, that was a referendum that took place a long time ago now. It seems a long time ago. I know it's only just over a year. But in that referendum, we made a decision to leave. It wasn't a landslide majority that wanted to leave. It was marginal. But it resulted in majority of the country saying we wish to leave. Now, whether that's, and there are things for it and things against it, and we can go through all of those discussions, and we have all those discussions going on all the time, ongoing in every program there is, and every news channel, and everyone's got an opinion. But there was a vote, a national vote, and we decided to leave. Now, how has it got to this stage with all these disputes and actions and people saying no, they're going to fight it, and we must move it, we must change it, we must challenge it, we must do all these other things? Well, it's been managed badly right from the beginning. It was a national, let's get clear, it was a national referendum that took place, not a regional referendum. So when the counts took place, and the counts had to take place in the various parts of the countries to get them back to the UK. So we then got a lot of results which were meaningless from regions. Majority of Scotland wanted to remain in, majority of London wanted to remain in, majority of the south east of England wanted to leave, etc., etc., etc. So then it started becoming broken down into regions of, well, we wanted to stay in and we wanted to go out. It wasn't about that. Quite honestly, there shouldn't have been a regional set of results. It should have been counted, put into one pile, and a result, a national result given, with no knowledge of how many people in London wanted to stay compared with how many wanted to remain, and how many in Scotland who wanted to stay with those that wanted to remain. That's what's caused this problem. And it wasn't about, if the referendum was about who in each region wants to be in the EU, then we could have had that referendum accordingly. But we would have then had the mess we've got now, which is what we've got. It wasn't about members of parliament for each region declaring their own vote. But what we've got is we've got a result based on the stupidity of how this particular referendum was managed, how it's been announced in terms of results, and how the media have continued to play on it to give it this divide. The second point I want to make about the referendum for leaving the EU is I hear a lot of press and a lot of commentary about people making the point that it's made the country very divided. We've become a divided nation because of this. Well, yes, there's always going to be divisions when it comes to decisions in politics. This is nothing new. There has always been a division, but there's always been one party that becomes government to administer for a period of time, until they can hold on for no longer, and then another party comes in and takes over. And that's the way it goes. You're either very Labour orientated to a large extent or very Conservative orientated to a large extent. Sorry, that's my chair still squeaking. That is not new. We aren't suddenly becoming divided as a country. The country has always had people who think more this way or people that think more this way. That will never change. But it's not a crisis because we have people that think indifferently about circumstances. You never have a situation in a country where everybody thinks the same, unless they're not allowed to think the same. They're governed in such a way where it's communist rule or something like that. Our country, there is a divide. Of course there is. There are people who think we should go that route. There are people who think we should go this route. There are people who don't have an opinion. And that's what our country is all about. So when I hear all this nonsense about we are a country that's now divided, we're a democracy. We have people that have opinions. We vote and we get results through that. And all this drama going on in the press and in the media and on political shows is getting to a point where it's becoming ridiculous. Let's be clear. The referendum was not about should London be in or out, or should Scotland be in or out. It was about should the UK be in or out. And we should have only been discussing so many votes for in and so many votes for out. That was it. But we got into a situation where we started debating, well, I should be in and I should be out and this region should be out and this. Bonkers. And then these other fools who talk about we are now more divided. That's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. We've always had divided opinions on everything we've done for centuries. And that's why we've got Tories and Labour and Liberals and other parties on the fringes that are voicing their opinions. And the strength of those arguments make our government. So I don't think it's all, all these things I hear in the press are crazy. Just one more point I want to just raise, and that not to do with the UK now, but to do with Donald Trump. And I listened with intent to his press conference today in Singapore after he's had the meeting with his good friend Kim from North Korea. And look, I found it, I've got to say, I mean, I've never been a great rah-rah supporter of Donald Trump in every aspect, but I admire his approach. I didn't particularly like his video presentation. That was a bit yuck, but I admire his approach, and I think his approach has been 100% right, and he has got something to be proud of in terms of what he's doing at the moment. I support him 100%. I think he has made an effort. He is trying to resolve the issue with North Korea, and in fact I think he will succeed. But again, the press seem to want to look at it from all negative aspects with him. They want to take it down a different road. They want to sink it before it's actually had a chance to succeed. And I say, stop, please stop. I think I said in an earlier video this week that I think people in the world generally have got sick of politics and sick of politicians. They really have. And I think that's why Donald Trump is there as president, because he is not a politician that thinks in the normal way. He does have a view. He does feel he can handle a negotiation. He can read what people want and he can sense it when he has the meeting. He doesn't have to think with a diplomatic hat on as far as he's concerned. He'll tell it as he thinks it is. And he's not scared if he feels he's wrong and he has to change his mind, he'll do that. He changes his mind all the time. We know that. what's been achieved with him today, in my view, is something great. You know, he's had the balls to go there, form that meeting, have that discussion. You know, his objective one, let's get nuclear capabilities out of there, and he's focused on it. You know, and I know human rights is another one that's got to be dealt with, and he's going to deal with it, but that's going to come later. I think the point is, you know, he's made great strides for something positive to happen in Northeast Asia, and I think that's got to be what he should be given credit for. You know, all this about, well, he's playing for it, he doesn't care, and he's just playing for his, you know, the next election that's going to come up, you know, and he wants to, well, okay, he might want to win the next election if he can. I'm sure he probably does. Well, I don't know, but I'm sure he probably does. And he does realise performance is, you know, he's a businessman. He knows he's got to perform as a good president to win the next election. But it's not about that. In my view, I don't think he's doing it for that at all. I think he genuinely wants to see it succeed in North Korea. Okay, perhaps he does want to build a lot of his own real estate there in the future one day. So what? Good. As will everybody else be able to, you know, and I think that's great to have that country which borders China and South Korea. You know, what a great strategic place and position to be in when it comes to trade in that part of the world. Great opportunities. It can only give great opportunities to the rest of the world, not just in Asia, North Asia and South East Asia, but the rest of the world, in my opinion. And I'm not even talking about the safety now. I'm talking about the long-term benefit and future. And I hope he can carry it on. I hope he can do the same with Iran and Israel, and sort out, eventually get the Middle East into some sort of better order than what we've got at the moment. So yeah, good luck to him as well, as far as I'm concerned. But that was it. That was just my little few words I wanted to talk about in terms of politics as I see it at the moment. All right, so I'm going to get back to my gardening now, I think, and try a few more tricks. All right, bye-bye.